Yeah, I mean, obviously this is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's just so nice to see the fans coming out, giving me a nice little send-off, which is greatly appreciated. And, I'm really, really proud of what we've achieved here. We've come out, look at this, I mean, we've got the Leeds street absolutely packed. Everybody's celebrating being European champions. And, yeah, it's really, really nice, isn't it? Really, really nice. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome to the final episode of the Leeds United series. Today we're going to wrap up the series properly. I'll name my team of the series. I will also, we'll resign from our job, see who takes over, and we'll sim ahead 10 seasons and see exactly what became of the club after we left. Who took over, what became of the players, does Leeds continue to go on and now dominate world football, or does it slide away without Aussie Villain and hopefully, we'll not go back all the way to the championship, but we'll kind of see where, what happens in the 10 seasons following us leaving. But there we go. This is how we leave things off. We go and have a quick look at the general information. We can see that Calvin Phillips, after winning the Champions League, does become a club legend, which is perfect. I'm also a club legend, which is very, very nice to be remembered in such a way. Perhaps surprisingly, none of our players are icons. We have 3 favoured personnel in Leao, Haaland and Mariba, but of a Champions League winning squad, to only have 4 members sort of stand out among the sort of the history of the club, that surprises me a little bit, to be honest. I mean, surely Di Stefano scoring the goal is going to be remembered fondly for that. He would be surely, at least a favoured personnel, if nothing else. Our little Italian playmaker there. But there we go. That is... maybe a little bit surprising to me that only Calvin Phillips has gone on to become a legend. Now, let's begin by having a look at what I consider to be our team of the series. Alright, well, let's start with goalkeeper. Now, there's only really there is 2 choices, isn't there? It's Casilla, who, of course, got us promoted, and did he win an FA Cup with us? I can't remember now. Or it's Onana, and as good as Casilla was, it's Andre Onana is the best goalkeeper, I think, anyway. 247 appearances he made under me, and he kept 117 clean sheets, which is a very, very good record. If we look at right-backs, we did kind of change around right backs a little bit, but there's one man to me that stands out, and we really only got rid of him because he was starting to age a little bit. So right back of the series, I've gone for Louis Coyle. He made 142 appearances under me and scored 9 goals. If we go across to the left side of defense, this was one of the ones I had a bit of trouble trying to decide. Miranda was quite good, when he's eventually settled in. Zagre and Brad Darich both had some good seasons there. But I just think the original and the best, Barry Douglas, I think. He was, I think, our most reliable left back. And again, we only really got rid of him because he was getting on a little bit. So he made 93 appearances under me and scored 5 goals as well. And that brings us to the centre of our defence, and hands down the most difficult position to try and pick out 2. You think all the way back, Liam Cooper was a brilliant player for us on the field, and also off, he was a really, really good captain for us. Back to Bonifazi, he was just rock solid. And then, the more sort of later days when you look at Pongradic as well. But I've gone for 2 guys that I just think sort of stand out a little bit. The first is Big Johnny Suter. He joined us when we got promoted, and he was always, for the most part, very, very reliable for us. 165 appearances he made under me and scored 18 goals. And the other guy is Nathan Wood. I don't ever remember him making a mistake, to be honest. He was really, really solid. 141 appearances he made, and he scored 13 goals. That brings us to midfield, and to be honest, these 2 pick themselves. First of all, it's going to be Calvin Phillips, the captain, the leader of the gang. He obviously he was brilliant, wasn't he, Calvin Phillips? 252 appearances he made. He was, I believe, our most capped player under me, and he scored 13 goals. And the other guy in midfield has to be Ilax Mariba, doesn't it? An absolute star he was. He ran the show for us more often than not. He made 174 appearances under me, and he banged in 30 goals as well. So this brings us to another position of perhaps a little bit of difficulty, and that is sort of the wide players, the wingers. Yeah, I mean, the first one, to be honest, it was easy. Very, very easy, actually. Jared Bowen, again, joined us first year up in the Premier League. He, with Liao, kind of kept us up that year with his goals and was just always reliable. I don't remember having too many bad games. He played 156 times under me and scored 54 goals, which is not too bad of a sort of 1 in 4 record as a wide player. It's not too bad. And the other side was difficult. You think like likes of Under, of Vavake, who were good... at times. Fati came in and what an impact he made. But I think back to a player that scored a lot of really, really big, important goals for us. And there's only one man, that's Abel Ruiz. He was, for a while there, we brought him off the bench knowing he would score a goal for us. He made 120 appearances under me and he scored 42 goals. So yeah, we've gone with Abel Ruiz as the other winger. The number 10. Another difficult one. It was a difficult choice between two, to be honest. It was between Renier and Carlos Salina. And basically, what the deciding goal is who scored the big goals for us. And I just think in the big games when we needed goals, Carlos Salina was the man that got them for us. He, of course, got the winning goal in our first ever FA Cup win, our first trophy that we won at the club, our first major trophy. And he was just a reliable player for us. He made 156 appearances under me and scored 27 goals. So as I said, he gets the nod, only just ahead of Renier. And that brings us to striker. And again, it's probably a one of two kind of situation. It's Haaland or it's Liao, isn't it? And again, this guy just came in. First year we got promoted and was so reliable. Always got the goals for us. Haaland was brilliant for one season and then a little bit hit and miss the rest of the time. So Rafael Leao, I've given striker of the series. He made 192 appearances under me and he scored 92 goals. So there it is. That is my team of the series for Leeds United. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to put your own team of the series down in the comments below, by all means, feel free to do that. But yeah, there we go. That is my Leeds United best 11. Now, if you're looking for the best 11 that the game has given over the sort of course of the time that we're here, we don't vary too much. They have Pongraric in there. They have Zagre in there. They have Bogac in there as well, who was worthy of a consideration, but I just don't quite think he matched up to... Well, they don't have a number 10 as well, which probably helps. Bowen, they have Liao out on the left and Haaland up top. Haaland, I just think 67 goals in 144 games. So this is league games, not total appearances. But yeah, I just don't think that was... lived up to what I was expecting from him. They, of course, name a bench as well. They have Bonifazi on the bench. Renier's there. Valvake and Edouard, who I don't think has any business being anywhere near the team. Though he did have a decent goal return, but he was an absolute shambles for the moment he signed for the club, wasn't he? So this brings us, I think, to the moment that we don't really want to do, but have to, of resigning from the club. So thank you, Leeds United. It's been a blast, but unfortunately, the time has come. And do we have to hit continue? No, there it is. Leeds United boss resigns after many years in the job. The favourites to take over from us: Carlo Ancelotti at Sevilla, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. That is outrageous if he comes in to replace me. And Antonio Conte. Well, that would be a bit of a change in the football philosophy, wouldn't it? Let's sim ahead 5 years and let's see what happens. Alright, here we are, June 10th, 2031. Now, I've tried not to look and see what's happened. I've seen little bits and pieces just as it's sort of simming along. But let's start with Leeds United. It's an available job, first of all, so that's maybe not a good sign. Let's go and have a look at the Premier League. How did we do third this most recent season? So there we go. We have won a league, it looks like, since we've left. So let's go and have a look at stages here. Let's go all the way back to... This was the year we left, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the year that we left. So the season after we've gone, we should probably have a look at managers first, actually, shouldn't we? Looks like we were runners up to Liverpool. The current captain, we don't have... Yeah, there is no manager. De Stefano is still there, but that's it. We want to go to history and managers and see what happened. So, Diego Simeone came in to replace me. That's a surprise, and he has just been sacked. So they won 1 league under him and 9 cups. They won the Super Cup the year after we left. They've won the Champions League again. They've won the Champions League they've dominated the Champions League. Look at that. They've won it 3 times in a row. Amazing. Well done, Diego Simeone. How have they sacked him? That is messages. But anyway, that's amazing. All right, so let's focus here. Let's go back to the Premier League. Can I just go back to the screen that I had? There we go. So they were second the year after we left. They were then second to Tottenham the next season. They won it with 92 points the season after that. Second again. Wow, how many times did Leeds United the bridesmaid, and then third this most recent season, which is what got Simeone the sack. All right, so let's go and have a look at the Champions League now, since that's apparently Leeds United's new thing. What do you want to do here? Let's go to history and overview. 4 times Champions League winners, and look at that. 4 times in a row for Leeds United. That is historic stuff, isn't it? I mean, some of the great teams have never won it 4 times. Has anybody won it 4 times in a row? When was the last time that happened, actually? If we scroll down here, there's been 3 times in a row, a few times by a few different clubs, all the way back to Real Madrid in the early days. Otherwise, Leeds United, that is the biggest domination of Europe that we've seen in a long time. We beat Liverpool in a final as well, which is nice. Barcelona and Inter in the other 2. That is really good to see. Amazing job. Let's have a quick look in the 2 seasons, the 2 other seasons. Where do we get knocked out? Is it a quarter-final this year? No. Wow. Did we get out of the group stages? A first round knockout there, which probably didn't help Simeone in his case to stay in a job. And then if we go back to 2 seasons ago, so this is the one that cost us the chance to break a record. We snuck past PSG the previous year, so there was a revenge there, and then we lost the semi-final to Liverpool 5-3 on aggregate, which is disappointing, isn't it? So that is Champions League. Let's have a quick look at the FA Cup. Okay, so we haven't won that again, but this is not going to make Leeds fans happy. 2 seasons in a row, we've lost the final to Manchester United, who have now won it 4 times in a row. Wolves won it the year after us, which is maybe a surprise, but since we've left, Manchester United have owned the FA Cup. Look at that, a final, like 5 finals and 4 wins. That is ridiculous stuff. Carabao Cup, I don't believe that, if I had a look here, we had one. Where are we here? Carabao Cup, just the one, and that's not happened since we've left. All right, let's go and have a look at transfers and see what happened. All right, so this is the first season after we left. Abel Ruiz went off to Brighton. Let's see what his career turned out like. He stayed at Brighton and he's been banging in the goals for Brighton, so it's good to see Abel Ruiz have a nice career after we left. Juan Miranda went to Manchester City for £52 million. He is now at Real Madrid and transfer listed. That's a bit of a shame. I would have thought he would have been someone worth hanging on to, but anyway, there we go. So Miranda left. It was quite an exodus, wasn't it, actually, after we left. Under went off to Real Madrid for £55 million. Let's have a look and see what became of Under. He did not play for Real Madrid really at all. That's a crime, isn't it? And then he went off back to a season on loan at Leicester and then went off to Galatasaray, where he's been running the show. Who else left here? Kene went out on loan. Gakatrian left out on loan. Johnny Suter went to Red Bull Salzburg. What became of Johnny Suter? He's still at Red Bull Salzburg. He's a loyal player, isn't he, Johnny Suter? Look at that. 4 clubs his entire career. I like Johnny Suter. What a player he was for me. All right, so that's that. Mariba left to go to Atletico Madrid. We really did pick apart this team, didn't we? So what became of Mariba? Only 8 Spanish caps for him at this stage, and he went off and, again, didn't really hit any heights. Strange, that one, that Mariba didn't quite make it as we would have hoped. A few other guys went out on loan there. Jared Bowen, and Calvin Phillips left. Jared Bowen went off to West Ham and did okay, and then he's off it to Wolves, and yeah, he's sort of not really hit any great heights after us. But Calvin Phillips leaving for Arsenal, that is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. He's gone to Wolves and kind of bounced around a little bit, but a Leeds legend sold the season after they win the Champions League, and he's captains the team to it. That's disgusting. We can see any big players we got in there, no one particularly. All right, let's go and have a look at the next season. Who left? Luis left on a free. Katrian left. A couple of youngsters there. Vaughan left. So no one major left the next season. And yeah, there's no one. Timothy Way came in, but no one major coming in. next season, Nketiah came back. That's interesting. Who left? David Baker, the young winger, left out on a permanent deal off to Germany, where he has done a decent job, I would say. What else has happened here? Leao left on a free. That's outrageous. How would you let him leave on a free? He had a couple of good years for us after we left, and then went off to Lazio, and he's doing a decent job for them now as well. So that's Leao out the door. Who else has left? Endao went out on loan. Vavake went off to Tottenham. What's he done? He's only 26 still, and he's done okay. But the club made a nice little profit off of him as well. But that's Vavake left as well. Who else is left? Alina, it's a youngster. Noah Kene went off to Aston Villa. Well, I'll approve that, but only... I'm not quite sure what we're doing selling him, to be honest. He's gone off to Villa and done a decent job, albeit in the Championship for the most part. So that's Noah Kene, and Max Dean has left as well. How could you sell Max Dean? 11 caps for England he has, and he wasn't really playing, was he? And he's gone off to West Ham in the Championship and is doing a really, really good job there. But that's a bit of a shame that another one of the youngsters has left. All right, next season. Pongrenic off to Everton, he goes. So a shame to see him leaving. He didn't really play that last season too much. He sort of looks like fell out of favour. So that's Pongrenic left. No one majors coming in either. Carlos Elena has left, and Pellegrino. So this is just about getting towards the end of our legacy here, isn't it? It didn't take long to pick that team apart. Jesus. And then he's gone off to Liverpool subsequently. So that's a bit disappointing to see Pellegrino leave. Renier went out on loan. How is you loaning out Renier? Anyway, Elena, focus. Elena went off to Celta Vigo. We went off to Everton, and then he's out on loan at Celta Vigo. But doesn't look as though he was particularly favoured by Diego Simeone. It doesn't really surprise you with a Simeone team. And Turpey is out on loan, but still at the club. I can't believe they've loaned out Renier. Why are you doing that? And this is the last season, isn't it? So Haaland has left the club to go to AC Milan. Now, what happened to Erling Haaland? After we left, he just had never really done it, did he? He had 2 good years there, and he's never really done it since. That's really, really surprising. So Erling Haaland has left the club. Any other of our boys there? Turpey out on loan again, but no one... Oh, Onana's left as well to Zenit. Now, he would be an old man at this point, so that doesn't particularly surprise me. But he continued to do a good job, didn't he? All the way through to the end there. It's difficult to say exactly how many games he played for Leeds, but that's quite a few, isn't it? So he would be, I would consider him almost to be in the legendary status. So there we go. Let's go and have a quick look. Can we see the club info and who are the legends? Has anything changed? No new legends. Leao became an icon, so that's good to see. Unfortunately, he will never quite become a legend because he has left the club now. And Nketiah came back in. Simeone only favoured personnel despite winning the league so many times. Fati, now he didn't leave yet, did he? So he is still at the club, which is good to see. We're going to skip forward another 5 years, so we'll wait and see exactly. We'll get sort of end of career numbers at Leeds. But there we go. So the next 5 years, I'm going to say, went quite well. Let's skip forward another 5 to 10 years after we left. Okay, so here we are, June 10th, 2036, and we can see, look at that, 5-star reputation club. Thomas Tuchel is the manager. Mahoney is currently the captain, so that's good to see. And all right, let's start by having a quick look at the managers. Let's go to the managers here and see. So Jurgen Klopp came in to replace me. Now, Jurgen Klopp, look at this, Champions League winners again. Leeds United are going to end up becoming the best European team ever. They also won the FIFA World Club Cup under Jurgen Klopp, so that's another trophy in the bank. That's amazing. And Thomas Tuchel's come in for 1 season and won the UEFA Super Cup. So there we go. Let's go and have a quick look at the overview here. 6 times Champions League winners, 7 Premier League titles. Let's start with the Champions League. And look at that, another 2 times. 2 times 1 there. What do you want to do? Past winners. So that is now the one that we won, plus another 3, another 5. So really, really good stuff. Leeds United, look at that. It's been a really good time to be a Leeds United. Oh, they've lost a final to Manchester United though. That's not so good. That hurts, doesn't it? But can you imagine? That would be unbelievable. But there we go. So a really, really good time has been had in Europe. Let's go back and have a look at the Premier League. Did we manage to win that again? We have won it once. So that's promising. But runners-up a couple more. Where do we leave off? 31. So we were runners-up, won it, third, and then haven't really hit heights. So that begs the question, how bad has it been at times? So fourth this most recent season, outside of Europe. Oh no, we would have got there for winning the Champions League, so that's good to see. And then a third, and that's Champions, and a second, and then a third. I think that's where we left off last time, isn't it? So it's been okay in the league, but in Europe is really, really where Leeds United have been flourishing, isn't it? So that is excellent stuff. Let's now go and have a quick look at any other things that we've won. The FIFA World Club Cup, we know that we just won that, the most recent edition. So past winners, that was beating Liverpool in the final. So nicely done, boys. We didn't win it any other times though. 2029, we would have been we wouldn't. Were we in charge of that one? No, we would have missed that one. But anyway, Leeds didn't win it. FA Cup, have we won any more FA Cups? It doesn't look like we have. Oh no, we did win one the season after we've left. So Klopp won once. Lost in a final there in extra time, which is heartbreak. That's this most recent season. Let's have a look and have a quick look at the team. So Ian Dupey's still at the club. Mahoney's still at the club. De Stefano's still at the club. Fati is still at the club. And Dow is still at the club. So still a few players there. Let's go and have a quick look at the squad, shall we? And see if there's anybody else that is still hanging around Leeds United. It doesn't look like it. Check the under-23. There's anybody in there that we recognise? No. So let's start by having a look at the people that lasted the 10 years after we've left. So Ian Dupey is now 29. He is an absolute star. Look at that. He has gone on and played a lot of games for Leeds United. And I'm going to say we got our £86 million worth out of him. So that is Ian Dupey wrapped up for the series. Next down the list here is James Mahoney. Another very, very expensive fullback that we've signed, 141 caps for England. I'm going to say we got our money's worth, our $91 million worth pounds worth out of him as well. He has played, again, a lot of games, and he's played a lot of games well. So that's James Mahoney, surely a Leeds legend as well. De Stefano, he lasted, which is good to see. He's 32 now. He played 109 games for Italy. And he's played a lot of games for Leeds United as well. Look at that. So he's become surely a legend as well, having already scored the winning goal in the Champions League final. Atsu Fati is still at the club. 33, 131 games for Spain, 51 goals. He still looks a quality player. Look at how still has the pace at 33. He could go on for a number of years yet, couldn't he? Hasn't been banging in goals for fun, you wouldn't say, but consistent scorer. He's doing what he did for us, isn't he? And he's done it over a number of years as well. So that's Ansu Fati. And is there anybody else? Dow, of course, the youngster that came through under us. He only has one cap for Spain, which is maybe a little bit surprising. Spent some time out on loan, but otherwise has had a decent enough time at Leeds United. So very, very well done on Dow, lasting the 10 seasons after us as well. So let's have a look now at the transfer history and see who left when. So let's go back to 20. This is, I think, the season we left off at, isn't it? I think this is the season we left off at. Yeah, because the season before that is Haaland. Yeah, so this is where we left off. Okay, so let's have a quick look here. We have Turpey only out on loan, so we'll wait and check up on him. Williams Aski left. He was, of course, a backup for a number of years. He's gone off and he's sort of done the lower league thing for a bit, but playing regular football, so that's good for him. And the other person that left here, I think, was Nathan Wood, off to Watford. Now, that does surprise me. He was still surely had some use, and he's at Arsenal right now. So there we go. I'm surprised that he was let go, but he wasn't playing particularly well. So maybe that has something to do with that. So that is that season done, and no major signings there that we recognise at this point. Some of these, I mean, the players are going to be, they're old, aren't they? So there'll be a lot of regens being signed at this point, I would imagine. Nketiah left to go to Everton, so his return wasn't particularly successful. Nobody else there, though. No new departures. We go again. No names I recognise coming in. We're getting down towards, there's not too many left to leave, and no one left there. I think Turpey's the only one, isn't it, that I can think of that must leave at some point. Oh, Menia. So Menia and Renier have both left. Menia went off to Chelsea. He's 32 now. He had a okay time under us, but looks like he was a favourite of subsequent managers. They never really, the average match rating was never quite there for him, though, was it? He's gone off to Chelsea and done sort of more of the same. And then Renier, now he was obviously a very, very good player. He's gone off to Southampton. He's 34 now. Let's see what he did. Yeah, I mean, he never really did it much after we left. He had a season on loan at both Liverpool and Spurs. Came back, did okay, and you can kind of maybe see why they sold him, to be honest. But he was a good player for Leeds United. And is there anybody else here? It doesn't look like there is. So let's go one more season. No ins. But at this point, as I said, they're all going to be regens. Any outs? No. I'm beginning to think maybe Gary Turpey got released. So we should probably go and check released players and see where that brings us. Did anybody leave released and just kind of skip under the radar, I wonder? There it is there. So Gary Turpey did end up just getting released by the club. He's currently at Real Valladolid. Never got an England cap. He's 33 now. He did play. Where did we leave off? We left off here somewhere, didn't we? So he did play under. Well, I tell you what, he is very much a Diego Simeone player, isn't he? So he did leave. He then went off and signed in for Arsenal. So he was there on loan, then he signed there permanently. Spent a couple of seasons at Arsenal. He's now at Real Valladolid in La Liga. So he's had a good career. But yeah, maybe not quite ever hitting the heights that I'd certainly hoped when we first got him. Technically he wasn't. He just never quite developed for us. Now, did anybody else leave getting released? It doesn't look like it. We'll keep going back and see. We want to wrap things up properly here. No, it doesn't look like no major releases there. So again, we're back to where we left off. All right, let's now go and have a look at if any players made it sort of world stage-wise winning awards. So if we start here with the Ballon d'Or, Kylian Mbappe just dominated the award for a number of seasons, but it doesn't look as though... Let's see if any of our players got in the conversation. It doesn't look like it. Troy Parrott came in to take over, and it was Mbappe and Parrott, it looks like, they were sort of the new Messi and Ronaldo. Torres, another Torres at Liverpool, imagine the songs. But no, we didn't have anybody really challenging for the Ballon d'Or. So let's go down now to the goalkeeper. Did Onana ever clock it? He did once. So well done, Andre Onana. He did eventually get there. We left off 2026, I think, didn't we? So he was third that year, and then he did eventually win it. Alisson won it there, and it doesn't look as though we see him again. Was that a Leeds? So Manuel was the new goalkeeper that came in, a Spanish goalkeeper, and it looks as though at this point it's sort of not anybody that we're going to be aware of. So that's goalkeeper, player of the year. Men's player of the year, I'm assuming, is going to be very similar looking to the other, to the Ballon d'Or awards. Under 23 player, Ian Doopy won it, but we knew that already, and it doesn't look as though any other Leeds United players won that. The FIFA Pro Player of the Year, again, I'm assuming that's going to be very, very similar. Let's have a look at the teams of the year, though. So we want to go back to, where did we leave off? 2026, wasn't it? So the year that we won the Champions League, we did not have anybody. We had Mahoney on the bench and a player that we didn't sign on the bench. 2027, Mahoney was on the bench again, but nobody else. 2028, Calvert, who we didn't sign, was on the bench. Binho, was in the starting 11. Fati was the left winger. So Fati got in there. Mahoney again on the bench. What's Mahoney got to do to get a start in the team of the year? Unbelievable. Onana was goalkeeper of the year. That must be the year he won that. Semu, this guy is a very, very good central defender. No wonder they sold a few of the players they did if he came into the club. Binho, what's Binho like? He's decent. Anybody else? Mahoney on the bench, of course he is. And there we go. Next season, Miranda. You know what I wasn't doing is checking if actually we had any other players who had left. Should be checking names, not just clubs, shouldn't I? You guys may have already noticed that, so apologies for going back through this. I don't see any other names there. So this was Onana's year. Miranda I made it at left winger, so that's good to see. He got Team of the Year recognition. Anybody else there? Mahoney on the bench, as we said. I wonder if he'll ever make the starting 11. Miranda again in the starting 11, so he obviously went on to become a very, very good left back, but I kind of knew that. He was a good player when we signed him. So that is that. And anybody else here? Miranda again, 3 years in a row. Miranda, the world's best left back. Why did they sell him? But nobody else there. And we've got a few more years to go here. Miranda again, this time at Monaco. He was a good player. He obviously has had a very, very good career. Mahoney back on the bench. A few years away for him. And Doopy in Team of the Year, which is good to see. Mahoney on the bench. Does Mahoney ever get off the bench? That is unbelievable. Doopy made team. Look at the Leeds had a good year defensively this year, didn't they? Doopy in the starting 11. Another Leeds United player there. And Mahoney altogether on the bench. 2 more seasons. Doopy again. So Doopy has gone on to become a world-class right back. Again, which we kind of knew he would. But imagine if they'd kept Miranda, they could have had the best left and right backs at the club. So maybe a little bit silly there not to do that. But Mahoney altogether on the bench. And final year, Mahoney, he made the starting 11. Yay! No, this is all seasons. Okay, so this is actually so he didn't. Mahoney actually never made it into the best 11, but so this must be since the game has started. Mahoney is the best right back apparently. So there we go. Well done to Mahoney. Lots and lots of goal scorers there, and he is the only one of our players that gets in there. But so there we go. I would say overall, well, certainly in Europe, the team kicked on after us and went on and dominated European football. But domestically, I'm going to say a little bit disappointing. I thought we could have done a little bit better. But, when you're dominating Europe, you're dominating Europe. Let's have a quick look and see if anybody did get legendary status. No, just ourselves and Calvin Phillips. Klopp and Nketiah, favoured personnel. If we go down the icons... Liao is still there, and Mahoney and Fati have both made it to iconic status. But I would have thought maybe a few more. Interesting that Haaland has just kind of dropped off after he left the club as a favoured personnel. I don't see him there, so I'm going to assume that he hasn't got there. But so there we go. That is Leeds United. After we have left, we definitely laid the foundations, didn't we, for a really, really good future for the club. And they've gone on and dominated Europe after we left. So that brings us to the end of the series. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed making this for you. Yeah, and there is going to be a new series to replace it. I'm hoping that ready for tomorrow there'll be a new series that comes in. It's going to be something a little bit different, not first star challenge, and hopefully it'll be just as much fun. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the series. Subscribe if you haven't already, though at this point I'm sure you have. And I will see you next time for a brand new series. Until then, I've been Aussie Villain. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care.